Okay, so originally I wanted to make a video that would be my love letter to Taiwan. I'd show all the landmarks and cultural sites and do a deep dive into the local traditions and customs. But as I looked through my footage, I realized that the only things I recorded were food in Taipei. Eating food, buying food, traveling for food, it was all food related. So I decided, let's scrap that original idea and just focus on food. I've cataloged everything into 7 sections: breakfast, Xiaochi, bakeries, Taiwanese food, other food, night markets, and dessert. So let's get started. This is eating across Taipei. Every trip starts with breakfast, and what better way than to do it Taiwan style? We're going to Fu Hong Soy Milk, one of the most popular spots for Taiwanese breakfast. The lines can be intimidating even at 6 a.m. when they just open, but they operate with ruthless efficiency that the TSA can only dream of. Once inside, you get a glimpse of how everything is made, like the scallion flatbread that's rolled out and baked in a tandoor oven. The people taking orders are also incredibly efficient to the point I get stage fright while ordering. I'm constantly practicing my lines as I walk up to the counter. After ordering, there's a sauce station for you to play mad scientist, but I skipped it because I'm a devout flavor purist. It can get crowded inside, but turnover is pretty quick, so finding a seat is usually not a problem. People also learn not to argue with someone holding a threatening tray of hot steaming food. Here's our order, and starting off is the savory soy milk, which resembles tofu pudding. It's made by adding vinegar to the soy milk so it curdles, then topped with crispy chunks of donut stick and cilantro. To me, this is the sleeper hit on the menu. We also got some rice milk, which is made with ground rice and peanuts. This thing is thick and is like drinking liquid peanut butter. I should bring some jam next time to make PB&J soup. And of course, we got the Taiwanese version of a breakfast sandwich, called Xiaobing Youtiao Jia Dan, but I prefer to call it Edward Cullen because look at the way it sparkles. Love the chewiness of the bread with the crispy texture of the donut stick, and you know it's going to be good when you sandwich carbs into carbs. We came back for round 2 a couple days later and switched up the order. Some sweet soy milk with a donut stick to dip it in, and a damping, which is an egg and crepe kind of situation. This is one of my favorite traditional Taiwanese breakfast spots and my first place to go while trying to recover from jet lag. Just make sure to come early so you can beat this huge line. One of the biggest facets of food culture in Taiwan is Xiaochi, which translates to small eats. Taiwan approaches snacking very seriously, and you can't walk 2 steps without tripping face first into a bowl of noodles or some buns. Xiaochi comes in a huge variety, and attempting to try them all would be a Joey Chestnut level feat. Instead, here is a sampling of my favorites. This is 初炸小吃店, a food stall specializing in fried food. Everything is made fresh to order, and there's a wide selection of options, from popcorn chicken to squid to sticky rice and more. All the food is on display in the window so you can see what strikes your fancy before ordering. but it's hard to go wrong with anything that's fried. Like most Xiaochi places, there's not much seating at the food stall itself, so typically you grab it to go and eat while walking to your next meal. Fortunately, they provide some toothpicks for you to stab and eat with. First up, we got pig's blood cake, presented Lord of the Flies style on a stick. Following our rectangular prism theme is some taro cake. Now moving on to more abstract shapes, there was fish cake or tianbula, which was crispy outside and chewy inside for some nice contrast. And king oyster mushrooms to get my veggies in since I'm on a diet. I liked how the bags came with holes in the side which allowed the steam to escape and prevent the food from getting soggy. After a quick inventory check, the feast continued. You can't get fried food without getting popcorn chicken. And lastly, we got some pig trotters. These are typically more skin and gelatin than actual meat, and it's like a block of crispy bone-in pig jello. It almost has the texture of eating fat, but not nearly as greasy, well, besides the fact that it was fried. This was by far my favorite of the bunch. We haven't had any noodles on this trip yet, so let's fix that. This is Yiping Fuzhou Ganban Mian, a shop that doesn't noodle around when it comes to noodles. They specialize in Ganban Mian, a dry brothless noodle that acts as a blank canvas for you to customize with your own blend of flavors and seasonings. After putting in our order, I passed by a cold case of appetizers but didn't get anything cause truth be told, this was my third breakfast of the day, so I was already playing Tetris in my stomach to fit everything. The noodles come with scallions and sauce on the bottom, as well as condiments tableside. In your arsenal are chili flakes, chili oil, soy sauce, and yummy white powder. Once you're done playing chemistry lab comes a quick workout, the mixing. It's like shaking a salad to mix the dressing, but you're actually excited to eat it afterwards cause it's noodles. I was wearing a white sweater and gosh darn it, I should get a medal for managing not to stain my clothes. After a shimmy and a shake, the noodles were set for slurping. On the side, we got a dumpling soup, complete with 7 different dumplings for all your daily multivitamin nutritional needs. These included wontons, which I always enjoy because of the high wrapper to filling ratio. Fuzhou dumplings, which have a savory meat filling. I'll be honest, I have no idea what this is. Gongwan, or pork meatball, which is my favorite. And finally, hey, that's not a dumpling, that's a poached egg. All in all, this is a great stop for a quick and easy meal, or even just a snack if your mouth is bored. The noodles are springy, there's lots of sauce customization potential, and the mix of dumplings are fun to sample. Night is falling, so that means it's time for some pre-dinner snacking. We're at Ximending, a shopping district that attracts both tourists and the local youths alike. It's often described as hip and trendy, two words of which the definition still elude me to this day. Regardless, I prefer to come after dark when it's fun to walk around and get lost in the bright lights. Tons of stores line the streets, but I'm not really one to shop, so let's get some food. The tourist spot here is A Chung Flour Rice Noodle. When I was little, I always forgot the name of this place, and the only thing I knew about it was that you have to eat while standing up because there's no tables, so I always called it the standing noodle shop. It's a solid bowl of noodles, but it doesn't stand a chance against oyster noodles, but still worth a try given the area. On the way home, we stopped by Pingdu Chuansao, an extremely popular skewers restaurant that is never without a line. I'm a big fan of any food on a stick, and skewers in particular go great with a cold beer, cause sharp objects and impaired hand-eye coordination are a great match. In the front is a bountiful display of meats and vegetables, which you select and place in a metal bowl. After your harvest, you hand them over at the register where they lather each skewer with a savory teriyaki-esque sauce and grill it over a charcoal flame. Since I have no patience waiting for a seat, we got ours to go, where a couple skewers might have mysteriously disappeared before we got home. In the end, we got close to 20 different skewers, perfect for someone with food ADHD. Okay, buckle in folks, we're gonna take attendance and speed through our entire selection. There was scallion wrapped in pork, pork meatballs, tofu skin, pig's blood cake, shiitake mushroom, sticky rice sausage, 100-layer tofu, fish cake, chicken thighs, chicken gizzard, dry tofu, potato, lamb, and pork belly. If I had to pick my top 3, it would probably be the chicken gizzard because I like the crunchy texture and cartilage, the sticky rice sausage which is dense enough to be a murder weapon, and the tofu skin which is crispy and flaky to the point it gives croissants a run for their money. Bakeries in Taiwan don't play games. They come for your throat, wallet, and stomach. Even bags look like bread here. We're starting off at the library. Library? Library? Anyways, it's been a while since I've read a book, but this is a library I can get behind. I just hope they don't expect me to return the food after use. Whereas French bakeries are more about laminated pastries, I feel like Asian bakeries place greater emphasis on soft breads and incorporating a large creative selection of toppings and fillings. Melon and prosciutto, honeycomb, soft-boiled egg salad, red bean and butter, the list goes on and on. With the variety of breads and pastries there were, they must have needed the Dewey Decimal System to keep everything organized. Now onto the hard part, choosing who gets to go home with you. The thing about going to bakeries is, you want to diversify your selections like a stock portfolio and get a little bit of everything. Something sweet and something savory, something light and something heavy, something laminated and something bready. It's an art, ordering at the bakery. Excuse me. After pastry tryouts, these were the ones that made the A team. Thick, juicy chicken sausage smothered in mozz, mentaiko on an open-faced baguette, French toast with honeycomb to drizzle on top, and finally, a custardy egg tart baked in a buttery flaky crust. All in all, love the variety here, and it's going to take more than a couple trips to sample everything. No trip to Taiwan is complete without stocking up on souvenirs to bring home, and our mission objective this time was Jiada Bakery. We've wanted to come multiple times in the past, but they're always sold out by the afternoon, so this time we woke up early and made a mad dash. We were 20 minutes early and still a huge line had already formed. Based on the crowd, it was no wonder that they had to install these steel roll-up doors to protect themselves from these pastry-crazed people, us included. Finally, the gates opened and it was time for battle. I don't know what comes over me, but I'm telling you, all self-control goes out the window the second I enter a bakery. There were boxes of traditional Taiwanese pastries like pineapple cakes, sun cakes, milk cakes, and individually wrapped goodies like moon cakes and mung bean cakes. Freshly baked steaming egg tarts and longan cakes sat on racks begging to be adopted. We saw some people buy so much that the store was literally selling cardboard moving boxes for people to transport their pastries. After securing the goods, we made our way back to assess the damages. Now before you say anything, don't judge too hard. This isn't all just for me. I was buying them to bring back and share with friends, and I definitely didn't just eat all of this by myself while binge watching the latest season of Taskmaster. In addition to the box souvenirs, we got some other goodies as well. 2 beautiful egg tarts that stared into the depths of my non-existent soul. A slice of Taiwanese cheesecake wrapped in puff pastry with a bouncy, squidgy souffle-like interior, and a sesame and mung bean cake. I'd say it was a pretty successful hunt this time, and it's nice to have some souvenirs to look forward to after going home. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of the food journey, but this is Taiwan, so let's say the meat and noodles instead. The national dish of Taiwan is largely considered to be beef noodle soup, or the notorious BNS, so we're going to compare a couple of different ones. First up is halal beef noodle soup. There's multiple locations, but this is in the food court of a Xinyi district department store. First thing you do with any bowl of noodle soup is a little boot, scoot, and boogie to loosen it up and let the broth permeate the tangle of noodles. The noodles are springy, and it's a solid bowl of soup, with chunks of beef and tendon. They also have a secret menu weapon, an omelet stir-fry with thin pancakes, which might be better than the noodles themselves. Next, a place called Taiwan Beef Noodle Chicken Soup, but don't worry, not at the same time. They're open every day until 3:30 a.m., and you best believe that if I lived here, I would come every night for a 2 a.m. snack until my veins and blood became noodles and broth. We took our order to go and got some side dishes which included pig's blood cake, century egg, and tofu in about 20 different forms braised in soy sauce. For the beef noodle soup itself, I feel like the noodles weren't as springy as previous bowls, but the meat was more tender, it came with honeycomb tripe, and the soup was so cleansing. Finally, the famous DTF, Ding Tai Fung. The line to get in is always too long, so we usually end up getting takeout instead. Starting off, the meat had great balance of tendon and muscle, and I swear I can still smell the aroma through the screen. Extremely solid bowl of soup, except it's technically liquid, I guess. Of course, we couldn't leave without ordering some xiaolongbao or soup dumplings, alongside sticky rice shumai, my favorite. And we got a whole spread as well. The hot and sour soup was one of the thickest I've ever had. If there was a pool of it, I could probably run across it before diving in and taking a big gulp. Pea shoots are one of my favorite vegetables, and tofu skin is my second favorite type of skin behind chicken. We always get the fried rice, where each grain sparkles like sand in the morning sun. Okay, we're getting a tad overdramatic here. And finally, some taro xiaolongbao for dessert. We got a little sidetracked there, but overall it was fun to see the different blend of styles and types of noodles, meat, and broth that go into each bowl of beef noodle soup. It's hard to pick a favorite, and I think the best bowl is the one that's closest to you, but my winner is halal beef noodle soup. It had the best overall performance, and the thin pancakes are just unfair. Next stop is doozy, a popular local spot that does noodles and a bunch of different small dishes. It's like a small plates restaurant, but with appropriately small prices. It was a hot day, so we got a ventriloquist's favorite drink, a bottle of beer. We poured them into these paper cups at first, but the waiters looked at us funny and offered glass cups sitting next to the fridge that we missed. I like these small cups because it feels like you get more beer, like how you get more pizza if you cut it into 12 slices instead of 8. Here's what we got, and let's go on a little table tour. I got some bantiao, which are these flat rice noodles with dried shrimp, pork belly, and shallots on top. Next up, oyster soup with ginger, followed by fried tofu, an omelet, and fried oysters. Oh, and some obligatory vegetables, I guess. These are stir-fried water lilies. This is the kind of restaurant I wish I worked next to so I could pop in for a quick lunch. It would probably even make me actually excited to go to work, but I guess Subway is gonna have to do for now. Here's another local haunt called Beito Yoyu, or Beito Squid Snack, located right across the Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall. They specialize in squid noodles, which I prefer much more than squid games. All their menu items are plastered in giant photos across the wall, which I think more restaurants should do. I didn't see any fine print, so I'm assuming the skill of the photos are accurate. I got a bowl of their assorted meat noodle soup. The soup is a lot thicker than your average broth, but that just helps it latch onto everything to give it an extra oomph of flavor and warmth. In the bowl was squid of every shape and form. Sliced, grounded, pasted, you name it, it was there. We also got a side of mala duck blood with a mushroom medley on top. If you've never had duck blood before, just imagine tofu but with more iron. Side effects may include aversions to garlic and loss of reflection in the mirror. And finally, some crispy fatty red fried pork. This is a great spot for traditional Taiwanese food, and next time I come back for more squid noodles, I can yell I've eaten these foods before. Going out to eat is nice, but nothing beats some home cooking, so let's go over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. We never want to show up empty-handed, so we stopped by for some roast chicken, and this one we got came with extra zest. The spread is always breathtaking, and I never realized until I started cooking for myself how hard it is to cook multiple dishes and multitask in the kitchen. I can probably handle boiling pasta and searing chicken at the same time while watching YouTube, but beyond that, I start panicking and flipping pots and pans in a frenzy. Seriously, I swear some dark magic goes on in that kitchen to make all of this happen. Here's round 2, and look at this. We got some steamed shrimp, my favorite clams called haiguatsu stir-fried in basil, salted fish roe, stir-fried veggies and mushrooms, clams with silk melon, tomatoes and guava, and milkfish. There was also skewered grilled fish that looked like it had just swam onto the plate, and some shrimp on puppet sticks. Here it is giving a quick twirl or fit check before swimming on into my mouth. This dish is my favorite, milkfish. It's notoriously bony and dangerous to eat, but its belly jelly is divine. Of all the foods I've eaten on this trip, this is the one I always miss the most. We didn't just eat Taiwanese food on this trip, there were plenty of other cuisines as well. Put on your seatbelts, let's take a quick trip around the world. One of our favorite casual spots is Karen Teppanyaki. I like it because it's fun to watch the chef cook and the food comes as soon as it's done, but I always feel like I have to over-exaggerate my facial expressions to show the chef how much I'm enjoying the food. Upon ordering, the chef proceeded to dump out what looked like a forest's worth of bean sprouts onto the griddle. After a drizzle of oil and a generous dash of pixie dust, it was off to the races. The sizzle grew louder until it was deafening, and the waiters began passing out free earplugs to all the diners after we signed some waivers. Something else I enjoyed watching was the steam getting sucked away by the vent. It's like watching a vegetable exorcism. As much as I harp on eating greens, there is something extremely pleasurable about scarfing down stir-fried vegetables like bean sprouts and cabbage. First up is a bit of surf and surf, fish and shrimp. Light, delicate, and a great way to start. We also got an oyster onion omelet, or triple O, as a tic-tac-toe winner would say. And here comes the turf. We got the chicken thigh, by far the most popular option at the table. Crispy skin, succulent meat, crunchy garlic chips, absolutely gorgeous and a great companion of rice. Finally, we bookended the meal with some more veggies, this time with cabbage, lettuce's cooler cousin. All in all, a great meal with a great spread, and this is one Karen I wouldn't mind spending more time with. We were walking by the Taipei Dome and spotted this restaurant called Hamburg Yoshi. They specialize in Japanese hamburger patties, which are typically a little thicker and served with rice instead. No buns in sight here, and Lord knows I didn't bring any. Once inside, we placed our order at a vending machine and grabbed a seat along the extended bar surrounding the kitchen and grill, where we could watch the patty artists at work. I began studying the cheat sheet in front of me, which had eating instructions, but got distracted by this little secret cubby with utensils. There were 3 jars of paste you could use to accompany your hamburger. I'll let you guess which is which, but there was green chili, lemon salt, and pickled ginger. While waiting for our food, we got a lemon sour, a redundantly named drink that came with some cold ice. There's also an egg station, where you can retrieve a raw egg to mix in with your rice and eat it with the hamburger. Don't tell the restaurant, but I snuck a couple extra up my sleeve to sell on the black market, so this meal was basically free. I got the Wagyu beef patty set. They serve the patties one at a time so that it doesn't get cold, which is really nice of them. This thing was beefy, both physically and compositionally, and spurted out juice wherever it was punctured. It didn't have much taste on its own, but the flavor paste gave it a lot of zing, and the egg yolk transformed it into a smooth, luscious texture. There was also a savory, sweet, peppery demi-glaze sauce and a cute mini cast iron pan that made it feel like you had gone camping. One of the set meals included a hanger steak. It was definitely on the tougher side, but who doesn't love meat-flavored chewing gum? This was a fun meal and the first time I had ever been at a hamburger patty restaurant. When I'm back home, I'm going to try making this myself, but I might need to team up with Plankton first to get the recipe. We just ate at a vegetarian restaurant, so it's only right to go to a steakhouse next. I believe that's what they call a balanced diet. This is Smith & Wollensky, the devil's favorite steakhouse. The restaurant is right next to Taipei 101, which we didn't notice at first since it was so foggy, but it did feel like we were eating amongst the clouds. They offer a business lunch set that's a lot more reasonably priced compared to dinner. Starting off, some mussels, cause heaven knows I haven't got any myself. Next was a cup of sweet and creamy corn soup. The bits of popcorn were a fun, unique touch. And here comes the star of the show, the steak, cooked rare with no ketchup cause I'm not a heathen. There were a variety of accoutrements, including whole grain mustard, confit garlic, herb butter, and good old knuckle. We shared a couple sides, which let's be honest, was really just butter 3 ways, mushroomed, corned, and potatoed. And you can't leave without dessert, so we got their gigantic chocolate cake. It's hard to get an idea of the size of this monstrosity without a banana for scale, but believe me when I say even Bruce Bogtrotter would have had a hard time finishing this. We split 1 slice amongst 4 people and still had to take it to go. Finally, some coffee. Normally I'm a sucker for latte art, but this was the classiest looking cappuccino I've seen. We've been eating a lot of oily, greasy, fatty, but delicious foods, so let's cosplay as a healthy eater for a little bit. This is Sugar Pea, a trendy neighborhood brunch spot that's sure to infiltrate those Instagram stories any day now. They have a pretty extensive juice menu, so we got a bubbly pink guava soda and a juice called Green Glow made of kale, cucumber, romaine, lemongrass, Oscar the Grouch, Kermit the Frog, Philly Fanatic, and Shrek. For food, we had the Serrano ham and stracciatella toast, with tomato relish, pine nuts, and basil. 2 adorable little bites that were well balanced both in taste and structural integrity. We followed it up with a shrimp and avocado salad, by far the healthiest thing I've eaten on this trip. Eating salads always makes me feel like a rabbit, and I guess one that eats shrimp. Do rabbits eat shrimp? Maybe ones that live near the sea, like an ocean bunny. After finishing the salad, we hopped on out. Overall, everything was light and fresh, and I could feel the juice and lettuce battling all the fried foods and sweets I had consumed for custody of my body. They have other interesting menu items I would love to try next time, like pancake tacos. But for now, it's time to make like a pea and split. No trip to Taiwan is complete without going to a night market, the highlight of Taiwanese nightlife and a great place to get lost eating and shopping. There are plenty of night markets across Taiwan, but this is Tonghua Night Market on Linjiang Street. Night markets are a lawless land, and there are no rules on what you can or should eat, so of course we started with dessert. This stall was selling shaved ice topped with tongyuan, which is similar to boba but made with rice flour. You can choose to fill the tongyuan with either peanut or sesame paste, and they provide osmanthus syrup and lemon juice to drizzle on top. The magic of this is really from all the contrast. Cold crunchy ice with hot chewy tongyuan. Sweet floral syrup with sour lemon juice and nutty sesame. It's so simple, but it checks every box. Moving on, our next target is the guabao, a steamed bun with pork belly, pickled mustard greens, and cilantro dusted with peanut powder. The one we got was a little too lean for my liking, and I wish it had spent more time off the treadmill and on the couch. Lastly, we got sweet potato balls, little packets of dough that are deep fried until they puff up. They're crispy outside with a mochi-like interior, and I always make sure to grab a bag at any night market. The other night market we went to was in Keelung, a port city northeast of Taipei. It's about an hour train ride away, so we hopped aboard Thomas and made our way over. It was still light when we got there, so we wandered around the plaza while waiting for nighttime to fall. I tried looking for fish in the harbor but couldn't find any. Maybe I ate too many of them this trip. After making our way to the night market, right away this felt more intense. Stalls were numbered and packed shoulder to shoulder, and people were seated at every booth, leading to middle school flashbacks of trying to find a table to eat lunch. Sticking to Glinda the Good's advice, we followed the Yellow Lantern Road into the belly of the market. One of the most famous foods in this night market is the 营养三明治, which directly translates to nutritious sandwich. The bread is deep fried, then split open and filled with cucumber, tomato, soy egg, lunch meat, and mayo. It's about as healthy as caramel apples or Fruit Loops, and you feel it from the first bite. Is it interesting? Yes. Would I get it a second time? Probably not, but it's still worth a try. Walking through the market, we got our next course, grilled corn. It's lathered in a sweet and savory glaze and dusted with mystery powder, before being stuck over a charcoal flame and grilled like a student in front of their thesis committee. It's sort of a Taiwanese take on elotes, and it's hefty enough to serve as a defensive weapon in the crowd. We passed by a stall selling fish cakes, which were extruded onto a conveyor belt and plopped directly into oil to be fried. It was interesting, and what I imagined free samples would look like at the end of a McDonald's patty factory tour. Fortunately, we got some peanut-flavored ice cream to make up for it, which felt like eating frozen peanut butter straight from the jar. By the time we finished the corn, it had started to get pretty dark. Bars were starting to open, people were coming out to party, and the night felt full of opportunities. So we went back to the train station and went straight home to get some sleep. Final stretch! Time for a sweet ending, and that of course means dessert. It can get pretty hot and humid in Taiwan, so ice treats are really popular and the way to go. Longdu Shave Ice is a famous traditional spot. We got the Babao Bing, or 8 treasure shave ice, which has various toppings such as red beans, taro, mochi, and others. In the summer, they also have mango with condensed milk, which is my favorite. Another spot that's a bit more modern is Meat Fresh, which has multiple locations including some in the US. They're known more for their grass jelly and taro and sweet potato mochi balls, but they also have various teas and hot dessert soups as well. Buying shaved ice to go always feels like carrying a ticking time bomb because you gotta rush home before it all melts. Fortunately this time, mission accomplished. The shaved ice comes with a capsule of cream to drizzle on top, and it's really the secret sauce that makes it special. I think what I really like about this is the blend of textures. The soft, jiggly jelly, The chewiness of the mochi balls, the crunchy ice, and the creaminess of the, well, cream really makes it fun to eat. Our penultimate stop is Cafe Amadeus, an Austrian-themed cafe. Though it's supposed to be based on Mozart, they were playing Rachmaninoff's third piano concerto on the speakers, so I think someone needs to have a word with the DJ. Anyways, their menu was more on theme and didn't include any white Russians, so I got a Vienna Affogato instead. It didn't come with assembly instructions, but thanks to my engineering degree, I was able to figure it out pretty easily. In the glass were 2 scoops of bourbon vanilla ice cream, and I poured in the coffee and Bailey's Irish cream. The chocolate rim was a nice touch, but kind of gummy, which made it hard to eat. The strawberry soda drink was refreshing, albeit a little too red at tasting. I think this cafe represented a hopeful vision of cultural harmony in the future. After all, it was an Austrian cafe in Taiwan playing Russian music overlooking a Japanese garden. Truly a blend of many cultures. Not sure if we'll come back again, but it was nice to sit down and take in the air conditioning. Before I knew it, it was time to head home. After hastily shoving souvenirs and snacks into my suitcase like a smuggler, we got on the metro to Taipei main station and transferred to the Taoyuan Airport metro. I checked in and sent my luggage off, and it was time to go through security. But not before one last hurrah at the food court downstairs. We went back to Xiaonanmen, but this time got some douhua fenyuan, which is basically tofu pudding, tapioca balls that are smaller than boba and resemble frog eggs, and some added jelly. This is one of my Taiwan must-eats, but I hadn't had it yet on this trip, so like my schoolwork, it was nice to cram it in last minute. Overall, this was a glorious trip of eating, and it was hard not to drool over my phone, keyboard, and computer while combing through all the videos. I'm not going to name my top bites or favorite restaurants of the trip, but what I will do is construct what my ideal day of eating would look like. We got a long day of eating ahead of us, so I'm heading straight to Fu Hong Soy Milk right when they open at 6 a.m. Once the bakeries open, I'm stopping for a mentaiko baguette before heading over to Xiaochi for lunch with a friend or two and ordering the menu. Gotta wash it down with some boba after that at Guiji, and after a nap or two to recover from all that exercise, we're going to Pingdu Skewers to kick off the night, then ending at some night market to fill in the remaining crevices of my stomach. This trip, I was pretty much only in Taipei, but next time, I'm going to try spending more time in other cities like Taichung, Tainan, Kaohsiung, and others. But for now, it's time to head back home. Until then, peace out.